All right. So, but I know you still have to go to across the.
I love going to Tobago,
Island.
and we're going over to Tobago now, and we're going to talk about Carnival and the launch of Carnival in Tobago. With us, Mr. George Leacock, who is the Executive Chairman of the Festivals Commission. Mr. Leacock, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you this morning?
Great. You see, I have on my Carnival shirt.
Mr. Leacock, Carnival 2019, how are things shaping up so far?
Well, I think across the nation, you would hear of the challenges that people have in terms of reduced financial allocations and all that kind of stuff. My philosophy on all of that is that all of the associations should take this as a challenge, all of the Steel Band Association as a challenge. Not a challenge to just treat with finances and divide what is available over the year and pay for your infrastructure and all of that. But a challenge to start to rebuild organizations from the ground up, to make organizations that are more sustainable, self-sustainable, that, you know, sort of whether the government comes or the government goes, you continue to be a solid organization going forward. That's my advice, and that's the advice we have to give ourselves at the Festivals Commission, and that's the advice that the associations that will be successful have to treat with.
And you're talking about the financial allocation. How much money is needed for Carnival in Tobago, do you think?
Well, if you base it on, you know, need is a very strong word. People can find a way to expend any amount of funds that's allocated. The allocation that we have is similar to the one last year, which essentially means that it is less, because of course the cost of providing goods and services remains the same. It must, in the Tobago situation, be shared between all of the kiddies carnivals, all of the major events in Scarborough and Roxborough, Pan, Calypso, Mass. The Mass fraternity in Tobago does not have agreement on who is the single entity that's representative of all of that. So all of the operations associated with that fall to the Festivals Commission. You know, judges, all the infrastructure and all of that. And in every area, the cost challenge has gone up, so that because we funded in the same way that, as last year, it is going to be even tighter than it was last year.
Can you give me a figure that you think
it's $7 million.
10 million to effectively manage Carnival in Tobago?
No, I wish.
You wish?
No, did you hear me? I said it was 7 million.
7 million?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you probably think more can be done in terms of allocation of funds for the island?
No, that's not my issue at all at this stage of the game. The first rule of the Festivals Commission is to advocate on behalf of the Carnival community. Having done that and being provided with the allocation by the Tobago House of Assembly, it is now our responsibility to manage the Carnival celebrations within the allocation. Absolutely no opportunity for a cost overrun or anything of the sort. And even with the funds that we do have, to ensure that there's a return, whether that be a social return or an economic return on the funds that we have available.
Yeah. But what can people expect in Carnival Tobago?
Well, you remember, Carnival is not the kind of festival like others where you go and hire goods and services and performers, and you tell them what you want to sing because you've heard their song on the radio. Carnival is something that comes from people, and people get a chance to decide what they want to do for Carnival. The Festival Commission wants to point people in a particular direction, a direction that makes them sustainable as entities, make them have the full benefits of their efforts and so on, so that we are working with Calypsonians, and it's a little bit unfortunate that we're not having the level of communication that we wish we would with the Calypsonians Association. We're working with the Steel Band movement, trying to orient the kinds of competitions and so on that we'd have that point towards steel bands becoming year-round entities rather than one-off panorama machines, and all that kind of thing. But all of that is part of developing people in a developing industry and trying to stay, relevant to what people want in the current situation and all of that. More so than looking at what we did last year and trying to find out a way to do the accounting exercise of dividing up the funds as we have done in the past.
And there is this issue with the sea bridge and air bridge that we've been hearing for a long time. Do you expect people from Trinidad to come over to Tobago for the Carnival weekend?
Well, I'm so happy you asked that. I wish everybody would. Um, the I have an argument, right? I used to be a national basketball player. Since I've fallen out of international basketball shape, I'm not sure I could keep up with Carnival in Trinidad. So in Tobago, we have a Carnival. In fact, a band from Trinidad would annually win the Juve competition in Canaan Bonacon, or at least do very well in that competition all the time. So if they think it's a good idea, we're hoping that more people from Trinidad think it's a good idea. Our layout with Carnival in Scarborough, where you're going down the esplanade with the sea and the sea
Mr. Leacock,
breezes as a backdrop, is unrivaled. And we suggest that
Mr. Leacock, I would like to apologize, but
athlete take an opportunity to enjoy that.
Mr. Leacock, I'm sorry, but we have to leave it there for now. We have to go to the news, but thank you very much for joining us this morning to tell us about the launch of Carnival in Tobago.